Hi, I'm Connie Podesta. Now, unlike many of the other introducers, I did not have a strong personal relationship with Jim Rohn. I didn't work with him, I didn't have dinner with him, I didn't even get to know his family, and yet I totally knew him through his message. See, that's what's so unbelievably extraordinary about Jim Rohn. You don't have to know him personally to be influenced and challenged and changed by his message. His message is timeless because it's about an attitude and a mindset that will lead to actions that will generate success in everyone, including you. Now, for any of you who know me and you've heard me speak, you're very aware that Jim and I have very different speaking styles. I'm more direct, I'm in your face, I'm kind of a tough love kind of person. I'm more of a no excuse, figure it out and get real kind of attitude, whereas Jim, he was the ultimate gentleman. But beneath his calm demeanor, there was a subtle directness that totally intrigued me. He definitely was not a rah-rah, dream your dream kind of guy, and I liked that. He was all about taking action, and that's what I loved about him. His views on accountability and responsibility for your own thoughts and mindsets and behaviors played right into my own beliefs. See, Jim, in a quieter way, he was saying exactly what I was trying to say. Be responsible for yourself. Don't blame others. Be cautious when making choices. And then, once that choice is made, be accountable for the consequences. Hearing Jim really validated my own message. It gave me the inspiration to continue, and yet continue using my own personality and my own style. You see, my background is reality therapy, which also gets its energy and purpose from values such as responsibility and accountability. In fact, one of the things that I'm known most for is my Quit It series, which is based on all the things we need to quit, stop, or let go of so we can finally start living the life we want and choose. In this module, Jim is going to discuss lifestyle, and he does an amazing job of explaining what he calls the essences of life. Now, like I said, Jim is a kinder, gentler soul than me when it comes to sharing ideas about what you should do to turn an ordinary life into an extraordinary life. But I had fun reading beneath the lines and discovering all the things that he's really saying you need to quit if you want to reap the benefits of an amazing life. So, you ready? Here's my take on Jim's message. Number one of my favorite all-time quotes of Jim is this: your income is determined by your philosophy, which in my language means, you know what? You're pretty much going to earn what you believe you're worth. Now, I have to admit, I didn't quite grasp his meaning when I first heard him say this on tape many, many years ago, until something happened to me personally that made me realize what he meant. Years and years ago, when I first started speaking, a woman from Alaska called and offered me a job. Now, this was right at the beginning, and I desperately, desperately wanted the work. So she asked me, Connie, what do you charge? And I fumbled around. I didn't even know, and I just came up with a number. I said, $500. And she said, really? For how long? Now, she had told me it was a 3-day conference, and so I said, all 3 days. And she said, really? What about expenses? And I said, oh, no, all the expenses are included. And she said, you got a deal. Now, it cost me $700 to fly there, another $250 for the room, and she had me do 13 breakout sessions, 6 different topics. I was exhausted. When we got to the airport, she started to hand me the check, and I reached for it, and she took it back and said, Connie, I'm going to tell you something. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I would have paid you $5,000 for what you just did, but I'm going to hand you this check for $500 with no guilt whatsoever, and you know why? Because you don't know what you're worth. And if you're going to do this for a living, you better understand that first. Because if you don't know what you're worth, no one else will either. Wow, that's right what Jim is saying all these years, right? You know, as a therapist and coach and counselor, I deal with people all the time who are literally, get this, afraid of success. Hard to believe? It's true. People who feel guilty because they earn too much money. They feel guilty because they might look too important. And they never truly know or appreciate their own value or worth. So, what is your philosophy about success? What's your philosophy about money? And let me ask you this: is it helping you or keeping you from achieving what you want in life? Another favorite quote of Jim's on this tape that I think you're going to love is, results is the name of the game, which in my language means quit pursuing the things that don't work and start going after what does work. You know, when I first heard him say this, it was like he was speaking right to me, because this is exactly what I had to learn way back in high school. See, in high school, go back to your freshman year when you want to fit in, and so did I. And I didn't quite know where my place was, so I tried out for everything. I tried out for cheerleading and didn't make it, and tried out for a gymnastics team and didn't make it, and tried out for pep squad and chorus and didn't make any of them. And so I'm thinking, how can I take these things that I wasn't that good at? Do I need coaches? Do I need tutors? What do I need to do to get to where I could be successful? And one day I'm sitting in class and I'm talking as usual, and the teacher kicks me out. And I'm in the hall, and another teacher comes by and says, what's going on? And I told him, and he said, so you got kicked out for talking? And I said, yeah. And he said, you know what? Be in my office at 3 o'clock. And he walked, and I'm thinking, I'm in trouble with this guy, and I don't even know him. I got to his office at 3, and he opened the door to a new life for me. It was tryouts for the speech and debate team. You know what? By my junior year, I was leading the play. By my senior year, I was their top debater, won a scholarship to college in theater and drama and acting and comedy. And I didn't need to get any tutors, and I didn't need to get any coaches. You know, I had to learn early in life to go after the things where I could see the results. Jim knew that knowing your own strengths, knowing your own limitations is huge if you want to be successful, because believe me, it is so much easier to build your success on the innate talents you were born with, even if it's talking like me, than trying to develop the skill sets that you already find difficult to learn and achieve right from the beginning. Another quote of Jim's that really touches my heart is this one. Life was not designed to give you what you need. It was designed to give you what you deserve. Ooh, I love this. But I think most people hear this incorrectly. See, in my language, what Jim is saying is quit expecting life to give you what you think you deserve when you did absolutely nothing to earn it. Jim even says, if you don't plant in the spring, then don't expect a harvest, which means if you're not willing to do the work, you're not going to see the results. For example, I often ask my audiences to raise their hands if they think people deserve to be happy. So what about all of you? How many of you think people deserve to be happy? And I will tell you, almost all hands go up. And then I look at my audience and say, really? Everyone deserves to be happy no matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter how they act? And then the hands begin to go down, but they look confused. Here's the bottom line. Success, happiness, wealth, health, these are not things we deserve, no matter what actions we take to achieve these things on our own. Because let's look at the word deserved. Deserved means entitled, and entitled means we don't even have to work for them. Seriously? No way. In fact, when people begin to believe they deserve these things, they begin to stop working for them, planning for them, and fighting for them. Let me give you an example. 2 years ago, my house burned down. We lost 95% of every single thing we had. But all of you listening, you've all had a loss, right? So think of a loss. Maybe it was loss of money, loss of income, loss of a job, loss of a family member. Maybe it was like me, loss of personal possessions. But the problem is this, and this is legitimate. When you have a loss, stand back for a second and think. The two legitimate emotions to have are sadness and anger. We feel sad that we lost it. We feel angry that it happened to us. And those are legitimate. But what happens is that some people, instead of being a healthy person who feels sad and anger, the sadness and anger begins to define who they are. And now that experience has left them a sad person or an angry person. One of the things I teach, and I think Jim was trying to teach too, is you have to fight for success. You have to fight for happiness. People will rationalize to me, I have a right to be sad, I have a right to be angry, and I'll yell back, but you have a right to be happy. You don't deserve happiness. You don't deserve success. Success is something you attract by becoming an attractive person. See, that's another quote I love at Jim that fits into this, because in my language, what Jim is saying is quit acting unsuccessful. Quit acting desperate. Quit acting like a failure. Quit being cynical. Why? Because here's the deal. If you're negative and sad, or you're dopey or mopey or grumpy, if you're whining and complaining, the bottom line is you are never going to attract the kind of people you need in your life. You need smart people. You need savvy people. You need highly successful people. And they're not going to be attracted to you. They won't reach out to you. They won't help you. They won't mentor you, and they teach you. Why? Because the bottom line is successful people are attracted to either other successful people or people who radiate the potential for success. Successful people don't have time for negative people with negative attitudes. They don't have time for whining and complaining and cynicism, blaming, or passing the buck. It's the same in your personal life. People would come to me and say, Connie, I want to lose weight. Connie, I want to get a promotion. Connie, I want to find my soulmate. And I would say to them, then you can't be negative. You can't have this attitude. If you're sad and you're angry and the world sees it, you will never attract someone lovable into your life because you're too unhealthy, too full of drama. If you're sad and angry and negative, you're never going to lose the weight because food now is your go-to emotion. If you're sad or angry, you'll never get the promotion because you are not exhibiting the kind of skills that they want in their leadership team. So there you have it. That's a small taste of Jim at his best. I'm going to promise you something. You are going to love Jim's module on lifestyle. This is from one of our all-time greatest mentors and masters, Jim Rohn. And in closing, I'm going to share with you my all-time most favorite ever Jim Rohn quote. Here it is. Don't wish it were easier. Just wish you were better. Think about that one. I love this. You know why it's my favorite? Because it sums up the amazing legacy and life-altering philosophy that Jim shared with the world. See, his ultimate message is this. In my language, he's saying, we can all have more, do more, achieve more, and be more if we are willing to accept the personal challenge to look within and do whatever is necessary to be a better person. We cannot stop learning ever about ourselves, but we can indeed live an extraordinary life if we choose that path for ourselves. But we are always responsible and accountable for the journey we take to achieve that goal. In my language, Jim is saying, quit trying to change others and change yourself first, because bottom line, that's the only person we truly have control over. So thank you, Jim. Thank you for being there for me over the years. Even though I didn't know you, even though I never met you, you were there when I needed you the very most. And now, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for an unbelievably awesome experience with my all-time hero, Mr. Jim Rohn.